Imagine how good it would feel to be able to speak to someone and make them actually feel good about the conversation, to make them feel better after speaking to you. I think that is powerful. And if you want to be successful in life, you should be able to do that. And if you learn the principles from this legendary book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, you can make it happen. So I promise you that if you have the discipline to watch this entire video series from start to finish, you will be able to do just that. That is my promise for you today, and Knights don't break promises. This series will be split into 6 parts. Currently, you are watching part 3, and if you haven't seen parts 1 and 2 yet, click on the card in the top right corner where you will see the playlist with them. But this is only part 3, which means there are 3 more coming. And if you don't want to miss them, make sure you click on the subscribe button and hit the bell so that YouTube sends them to you as soon as they are done. This book was written in 1937, and the reason this book is so relevant even to this day is because Dale Carnegie constantly worked on revising it. He revised it until the day of his death, which was in 1955, and many people after him revised it as well. So this book has literally lifetimes worth of knowledge. Carnegie also highlights 8 things this book is going to help you with. 1. Get out of a mental rut. Think new thoughts, acquire new visions, and discover new ambitions. 2. Make friends quickly and easily. 3. Increase your popularity. 4. Win people to your way of thinking. 5. Increase your influence, your prestige, and your ability to get things done. 6. Handle complaints, avoid arguments, and keep your human contact smooth and pleasant. 7. Become a better speaker and a more entertaining conversationalist. 8. Arouse enthusiasm among your associates. And this book has done so for more than 10 million readers. And if you follow this 6-part course, you will be able to join this group. Principle 11. Show respect for the other person's opinion. Never tell people they are wrong. If you can be sure of being right at least 55% of the time, you can go into Wall Street and make $1 million a day. If you can't be sure of being right even 55% of the time, why should you tell people they are wrong? If someone makes a statement that you know is definitely wrong, you should not say that to him. That will only make him upset and just convince him more of his previous opinion. Rather than doing this, you should ask him questions that will make him come to the realization himself. Carnegie gives us the exact sentence we can use to convince someone that what he said was wrong. I thought otherwise, but I may be wrong, and I frequently am. And if I'm wrong, I want to be put right. Let's examine the facts. Saying this sentence will stop a lot of arguments from happening. And that is good because as we just learned from part 2 in Principle 10, you can never truly win an argument. So if you use this principle, you will stop yourself from going into the rabbit hole of never-ending arguments. Principle 12. If you are wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. Say about yourself all of the derogatory things you know the other person wants to say, and say them before the other person has a chance to say them. The chances are 100 to 1 that a forgiving attitude will be taken and your mistakes will be minimized. Now, when implementing this principle, a lot of people make it weird. They are too self-deprecating, and they apologize for things that aren't actually their fault. You should only do this when you actually make some sort of a mistake. Carnegie tells us a story where he himself has experienced this. He used to take his dog on a walk without a leash and a muzzle, even though a police officer told him previously that it was against the law. And one day he got caught, and it was the same police officer who told him that it was not allowed. And so before the officer could say anything, Carnegie used this principle. He admitted everything he's done wrong and sincerely apologized. And so the officer took the softer approach and let Carnegie go without any further punishment. So whenever you do something wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. In a situation like this, there can only be one angry person, and if you take on that role, you can very often minimize the consequences. Principle 13. Begin in a friendly way. The friendly approach and appreciation can make people change their minds more readily than all the bluster and storming in the world. Carnegie tells the story of how one of his course members got his rent reduced by using this tactic. Instead of complaining like all the other tenants, he took a different approach, and when talking to his landlord, he started talking about how great the apartment he is staying in is. He told him how much he liked the furniture, how he likes that everything works the way it's supposed to, and complimented him on how well he runs the building, but also said that he would love to stay there, but he just cannot afford the rent. And just like that, without even having to ask for it, the landlord reduced his rent. This story is very nice and can be applied by most of us at home. So next time you have a reason to complain, consider starting with a compliment, because that will always get you further than being angry. Principle 14. Get the other person to say yes immediately. The more yeses we can induce, the more likely we are to succeed in capturing attention for our ultimate proposal. In this principle, Carnegie talks about Socrates and his way of winning debates. He would ask his opponent questions that he knew he would have to say yes to, winning one argument after the other. At the end, his opponent usually ended up agreeing with him. When you get someone to say yes, it puts them in a very forward mood and makes them more likely to agree with your next question. And so the more yeses we can get the other person to say, the more likely they are going to agree with our final statement. This principle of getting people to say yes immediately is most often used in sales. The best salesmen out there don't try to sell anything. They only ask you smart questions which, if you answer, you convince yourself to buy the product they are trying to sell to you. So for example, if I wanted to sell someone my gym membership, depending on what type of person it is, I would ask them a question I knew was in line with their desire. So for example, for an older person, I would ask if they think staying fit is necessary for living a longer life. I wouldn't ask that to a 15-year-old. I would ask him if he thinks that getting jacked will make him more attractive. And obviously, both would have to say yes. Then for example, I could ask if they ever tried getting into working out to get fit. And again, most people have to say yes to that. That is another yes I got. Then I could ask if the reason they didn't stay consistent with working out was because they were doing it alone and no one held them accountable. And most people would have to say yes to that. So then I could offer them some sort of a package with a fitness trainer that would hold them accountable. And at the same time, obviously sell a membership. And you can use this principle for almost anything. You just have to use some creativity. Principle 15, let the other person do a great deal of talking. Most people trying to win others over to their way of thinking do too much talking themselves. Let the other people talk themselves out. Here, Carnegie tells us a story about a mother whose relationship with her teenage daughter wasn't going well. No amount of lecturing, punishing, or nagging would stop her from misbehaving. So one day, she simply asked her daughter why. Why was she behaving like this? And later, she realized that the reason she was behaving like this was because she was never allowed to speak. When she would come to the mother with some thoughts and ideas, she would get interrupted and given more orders. And once the mother realized this and started to let her speak, their relationship improved immeasurably. It's easier and more comfortable to keep talking, but that's not a good thing. People who are confident in themselves don't have to fill in the blanks during a conversation. That is something I want you to remember. There is also one very dangerous habit you might encounter as you start implementing this principle, and that is interrupting them while they are talking. When you interrupt someone while they are saying something, they won't even listen to you because they still have a bunch of their own ideas that are crying for attention they want to talk about. So they don't even hear what you wanted to say in the first place, and you just made them upset. Alright bro, that's it for today. Make sure you stay tuned for the 3 other parts of this series. If they are already out, you will probably be able to see them somewhere on the screen, so go check them out. Go click on the subscribe button, share this video with a friend who needs to improve his social skills. Join the Wisdom Clan with the first link in the description. Make sure you implement everything you've learned today, and bye.